Hello everyone, welcome to my Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, Veteran difficulty, no upgrades walkthrough. This is Mission 1, Induction, and this is the beginning of a very interesting Call of Duty game, because this is the first time in the history of Call of Duty where Call of Duty has actually tried to do something very different to its typical iconography, and it has decided to go into the futuristic setting. And when I first played this game was so much fun. Of course, this was during the time where I was not quite the gamer that I am today. So I played this game on Recruit difficulty a lot, and I used a lot of the upgrades. And I had completely forgotten that this game embraced an upgrade system where when you complete these 4 challenges in each of the missions, you gain upgrade points, and you can allocate those upgrade points to certain parts of your exo, be it your health, reduced flinch, lethals, tacticals, sprint speed, etc. It's very cool. But for the purposes of this walkthrough, I am not going to be slotting into my EXO whatsoever. I'm going to be going through the full game on Veteran difficulty at base level, and it's going to really change up the flow of these encounters, because when I was first starting this walkthrough, I didn't realize I had all of my upgrades because it inherited my save file. And like I said, I forgot this game had an upgrade system, so I was breezing through this mission with no trouble whatsoever before I remembered something about upgrades. And lo and behold, I checked my upgrades, and it turns out I was maxed out on all my upgrades, so I had to delete my save file in order to actually begin at base level. And it's going to be interesting to see how this game handles itself under duress, because really, it feels like this game is designed with the upgrades in mind, because the upgrades allow you to be more creative in your approaches with the encounters, and when you're not slotting into the upgrades, I imagine it's going to really feel like a bare-bones experience, almost similar to that of the older Call of Duty games, where the simple designs put in place just prevented you from being very creative, and it just allowed the enemies very unfair advantages. And it's going to be quite an experience, let me tell you. I just hope I can still enjoy this game the same way I did the first time I ever played this game. Like, this campaign isn't the best, don't get me wrong, but just the idea of actually doing something different with Call of Duty, I mean, Raven Software and Sledgehammer Games really showed why they were the kind of Call of Duty developer I like. You know, they were willing to take risks with this kind of approach with Call of Duty. And it was definitely a nice change of pace, and this game, it did receive a lot of positive reviews. I mean, there were a lot of criticisms towards the single-player campaign, which I can imagine was definitely the case, because of course, Kevin Spacey's always the villain. Who wouldn't suspect Kevin Spacey to be the villain in this game? But aside from that, I don't think there were any real criticisms towards the gameplay. I mean, I think the multiplayer was the one that received a lot of criticisms, but I can't speak for the multiplayer, because the multiplayer, regardless of how many changes they make to the multiplayer in Call of Duty, it's still going to feel exactly the same. Ooh, right here, this is the first tricky encounter of this mission. I say tricky, it's just, you can't speed right through it, because with upgrades you can easily speed right through this, but this right here is a good power position so long as the enemies are not on the same level as you. If they're on the same level as you, they'll be able to shoot you underneath this train car, and you gotta be careful of the drones. The drones will be very rampant in their behavior. They'll sometimes rush you, other times they won't. It's very, very unpredictable what these enemies choose to do, so take care of them, and you should be fine. And then I'm going to utilize this ability right here, where if you press down on the D-pad, you will activate your Sonics. It's specific to the Assault rig. The game chooses which rig you're going to be using at the beginning of each mission. It's such a shame that you can't choose which particular rig you want, but I imagine that would just conflict with certain story moments. So that should be fine. I don't care too much. But with the Assault rig, you have the ability to use Sonics, and the Sonics are so powerful in this game, although not too powerful, however, because there are times when the enemies can still hit you, and if the enemies are not in range of the Sonics, they'll be able to hit you easily, because of course the enemies still have the exact same perfect aim nonsense that they have in the other Call of Duty games. But the Sonics will allow you to rush through a lot of these encounters without any kind of problem, like I did with that previous encounter. The enemy stood no chance. They were completely stunned by my Sonics, giving me an opening to move. And I'm about to use the exact same thing right over here. I'm going to deploy my Sonics right over here. You can tell that the Sonics are deployed because you can see the pulse emanating from me. And I'm taking shots here and there, but it's not too bad. And then the Sonics are going to run out over here, but you need to activate them very quickly before the enemies get a chance to kill you. The Sonics can at times be hit and miss. I mean, you'll still incur a lot of damage at times, I don't know exactly when the active frame period on the Sonics triggers. I don't know if it's when you see the pulse happening, or if it's the moment you press down on the D-pad. That's really where it gets confusing. But because I've used my Sonics way too much, I've run out of battery power, and that's something I need to clarify. This game utilizes a battery system that governs your abilities, and certain abilities are tied to this battery system, like the Sonics. And you have the ability to upgrade your battery so that you have more of a charge, so you can use your abilities more often. But because I'm going to be at the base level, I'm not going to have the ability to be very flexible with my abilities. So it's going to force me to be a lot more strategic with my placements of Sonics or the other abilities. I don't remember what the other abilities are aside from the Sonics, but I hope they're just as useful as the Sonics. Because I know the other rig is the Specialist rig, and I do not remember what it does, but I know the Specialist rig doesn't have any boost jump. And the boost jump is one of the coolest aspects of this game because it allows you to move so fast, and you can also do boost slides whenever you have your rig. And you'll notice that oftentimes when I'm trying to move very fast throughout the map, I slide, then I boost jump, and then I dash. And it's such a fun way to traverse the maps, and it allows you to bypass a lot of these encounters with the enemies. And they innovated upon the system further in Black Ops 3. In Black Ops 3, the movement on that game was really, really good. And the ability to do bunny hopping, which is where you chain slides repeatedly, it was a really cool addition to that game. And you can't do that on this game, unfortunately. And one big problem I have with the movement on this game is there's no unlimited sprint, and because there's no unlimited sprint, there's one big problem that I have that is the result of this issue. So, the slide on this game is kind of delayed. It seems to come out about half a second after you actually hold the circle button while you're sprinting, and because you don't have any unlimited sprint, if you end up losing sprint at the exact same time that the input is registered for sliding, you will not slide and you will go prone, and I nearly get screwed by it several times in this mission. Like for instance, for that sequence after you meet up with Gideon and the Atlas PMC, you might have noticed several times where I was going prone. That was not intentional. I was trying to slide, but because I was low on sprint, it didn't register my slide correctly, so I ended up going prone and I nearly died, and I almost lost my charge on the Sonics, but I was lucky to have pulled through. So you gotta be very careful of that problem with the slide. But this sequence right here, after you pick up the charges, you'll want to grab the grenade launcher, and you'll need to make a mad dash to the right-hand side of this area and use your grenades, which will deploy these smart grenades that will track enemies, in order to deal with the enemies that spawn from the shuttle to my left. And you're just waiting for Will to get over here to trigger the scripting that will end this mission. And there are times when he's quick, but then there are other times where he takes his time, and I think it's because the enemies are still around. Like these drones over here, these are the last couple of enemies. Thank God this is not an infinite spawn moment. But I get rid of these drones, and then this will allow Will to push forward. And this effectively concludes Mission 1. And this is the beginning of this very interesting walkthrough of a Call of Duty game. And really, this is one of the few Call of Duty games where I can actually put in some kind of restriction other than just a simple veteran walkthrough. I might be able to do it with other games, like for instance Black Ops 3, but I don't know if I would, because Black Ops 3 is designed around the upgrades, and you need the upgrades to survive realistic difficulty, which is built around the upgrades. I don't know if this game is going to be designed too much around the upgrades, because you can practically approach this game like any of the other Call of Duty games, I imagine. So that shouldn't be too bad. But this is the end of Mission 1. Stay tuned for the future missions. Thank you all for watching, and you take care now.